it has been quite interesting for this Aquarius on the Aquarius full moon. But, shout out to my family who I saw this weekend back in the Motor City. You know, I just want to say, hey, all right, Cassie, I have a feeling it's going to work this time because Mercury always be playing with us. Can you hear me now, girl?
I can hear you. Can you
Jesus,
hear
won't
me?
she do it? Look at goddess. That's what I'm talking about. See, guys, this is what this is all about. You just we say we're going to get in here and wing it because that's literally what happened. Hey, girl, welcome. How are you?
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here with sound. Yeah, the vibes are, as the internet's favorite new word, they are not demure right now. Nothing is demure
Not
about this.
mindful.
Not mindful.
Not
Not
cutesy.
not cutesy. No, not at all. Like,
shout out to that creator and their funding their transition, and shout out to all the people using that
yes.
that sound bite because
She may be my full moon in Aquarius
oh,
high point, to be honest.
she's about to be on Jimmy Kimmel tonight because guess who's hosting? Guest hosting the whole week? RuPaul.
Perfect. I love that.
Here for
I love
it.
that.
What we are also here for is what a couple of weeks this has been. I don't know if y'all have been aware or present, but August and Leo season was giving its best. All of what they usually give. These planets, this Mercury retrograde has been playing games, girl.
Oh.
And we are moving into, the demure Virgo season, if you will, because that's how they like to play. But if you know a real Virgo, you know what they are behind closed doors. But anyway, we'll talk about that on the next one. So let's talk about where the planets are.
Sure.
Yeah. Again, winging it, y'all.
Yeah. Run it down.
All right. So you said what?
Still, the sun is in Leo.
Yes, for
a little bit longer.
A couple more days. So go ahead, Leos. Continue to have your 18 celebrations. We know most of y'all celebrate the whole month of July and August just cause. But okay, live your life. But on the 22nd, we will find that the sun will enter the mutable earth sign of Virgo. And the new moon in Virgo will be on September 2nd, but right now we are enjoying this full moon in Aquarius. Mercury is still retrograde because that's what Mercury does. And currently it is retrograding in Leo. It will go direct though, y'all, next week. So we have almost made it through. And then Venus is in Virgo, but she will move into her home sign of Libra next week, the day after Mercury goes direct. Mars and Jupiter are still in Gemini. Interesting placements for both, but we'll talk about that later. Saturn is retrograde in Pisces, along with Neptune still being retrograde in Pisces. We have Uranus and Taurus about to hit that retrograde on the 1st of the month in September, along with what? Pluto retrograding back to Capricorn for the last time. What Cassie say? In our lifetimes. Okay.
In our lifetimes. In our children's lifetimes. In our grandchildren's lifetimes.
Going on, you silly goat.
Bye.
Bye. We are done. Okay.
Never. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. The energy, you guys, full moons, we have said many times in this show, this is a time to release. A full moon is, some witchy peeps like to use full moons for big magic. This is not the one. This full moon is aspected in some ugly ways. It is sitting, so the full moon and Pluto retrograde are both hanging out in Taurus. It's
in Aquarius.
In Aquarius, yes, in Aquarius. They're being aspected square Uranus in Taurus, and then they're also opposing, of course, the sun in Leo naturally, and Mercury retrograde in Leo. So it's just giving a lot of conflicting messages some disruptive energy. Maybe you know, got weird medical news. Maybe you got rejected from something that you were hoping to get. Maybe you were having fucked up interpersonal communications. Like maybe your foundational stuff is getting shaken up in ways that are really uncomfortable or strange. Like expect all of that. And this is all exacerbated by another set of square aspects happening in the mutable signs. We've got Mars and Jupiter, as you mentioned, both in Gemini. Janine, I would not be charging under this full moon. No, I would give it till the next one. I'd give it the nice full moon in Pisces during Virgo season. That's
and you know, and Janine is also a Leo, so girl.
Yes. This one's to bring those crystals in, put them under a cloth.
Maybe sage them.
Yeah, there you go.
You can always sage as another option of not putting it out under the full moon, but still getting that same cleansing energy.
Or, you know, live your best chaotic life and do it. Don't say we didn't warn you. No, it's, you know, take it all with a boulder of salt. If it feels good, if the energy feels good to you, you're having a good time. And some people are vibing, you know,
girl, Earth is tired. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And we can talk about that a little bit because Virgo season's honestly going to be tough too. I think the full moon in Pisces in general, I think a moon in Pisces is a very, very potent time, especially for some crystal charging. But so currently the other things happening in the sky are, as you mentioned, Mars and Jupiter both in Gemini, where they are not comfortable, sitting opposite not opposite, square Venus in Virgo and Saturn and Neptune retrograde in Pisces, who those planets are sitting opposite each other. It's just, there's a lot of tension in the planets right now.
It's a lot of necessary tension because I feel that we were all very, very, very comfortable. And right now, a lot of uncomfortable things are happening in front of our very own eyes on a constant. I feel like it's on a constant loop, almost as if we're watching like we are transplanted into this just little storyline. But the planets are reflecting what we're seeing in our everyday life. We are seeing tons of conflicts in ways that sometimes can't even be explained. Mm-hmm. As you were talking about with Uranus in Taurus, that is the expect the unexpected. And with all of that fixed energy we're talking about, talk about stubborn on stubborn on stubborn. And it's like stubborn stagnancy versus mutable, I don't know what's going to happen, change my mind all the time. And Pisces, we both know those are two fish going the opposite direction, but nobody ever knows which way they're going because they don't know. So a lot of this time is for you to really reflect and get honest with yourself and have those hard conversations with loved ones, with yourselves. And I would say during this moment with Mercury retrograde, you don't have to say everything that you're thinking about, but you could probably write it down and revisit it later and address it. And probably it might come off as a more productive type of conversation. I think that a lot of feelings and a lot of conflicts, verbal conflicts, messaging is going to be very skewed for the next month or so. So I would just take it all, like Cassie said. It's a little bit here, a little bit there, but you know, what resonates for you?
Mm-hmm. I think that's all right. And even in your own like personal practice, if you're working with this full moon to release some stuff, if you can't find the words, that's okay. If it comes down to like, you like watch videos of soldiers being reunited with their dogs and cry and release some emotion, like, or like do a collage or something, you know, maybe just doodle, like stuff where you don't have to find that exact verbiage. You probably won't be able to. And like, I don't know about you, but just like this energy of the past couple weeks, and certainly the past few days and today, I've just been needlessly like anxious and kind of heavy. Like I just feel like the energy is heavy, and I am trying to remind myself that it's temporary. I think that Venus moving into Libra is going to be a nice little gift to us in this otherwise kind of tough astrological energy. It's always nice to get a planet, visiting its home sign, and especially, having some Libra energy right now when everything does seem so polarized and contentious. I think that's going to be a really pleasant little vibe. But like honestly, Virgo season.
Yeah, well, we were also, in addition to that, we were talking about this on our call about using this full moon to cultivate detachment and gratitude. Because if you're an Aquarius moon, I'm praying for you because I'm an Aquarius sun, and that just couldn't be me. But I'm glad I'll stick with my sun sign. I'm not gonna do it. But we love you, Coral. But if you're an Aquarius moon, the art of detachment from your emotions is a skill. And sometimes I think it's received as being cold, but it's not allowing yourself to get marred in emotions that change by the second. It's allowing you to realize that nothing is permanent. Everything is in a flow of up and down always, and not getting attached to a particular outcome, but having gratitude for whatever ebbs and flows you experience. And I think that's a really good message for this full moon, is to cultivate detachment and gratitude, and it will see us through through this rest of this and on to whatever may come.
Because things are changing, and they're going to continue to change. So
absolutely. And part of that gratitude was watching the Olympics in Paris, because when I say the USA did not come to play, but they didn't. Y'all know what I mean. You get it. I hope you get it, okay? But I'm just saying, we were talking about this, and there were so many women competing it, because Zodiac Chatline stands the uterus all the way. Okay. So many women competing in the Olympics this year. I looked it up, okay, because we like to do our research here, okay. We just not quite we do research. The USA women won 67 out of 126 total medals, and 26 of them were gold. We had the women's rugby team win bronze, the women's soccer team win gold, the women's basketball team win gold, the women's gymnastics team win gold, the men's basketball team win gold, and the track women smoking every competition so bad the other athletes weren't even in the field of vision when they were recording their run. Just saying, okay? Simone Biles is still the GOAT, in case anybody forgot. In case anybody got anything else to say, she's still. And they also did a research and said that this was the first gender equal Olympics, and that if the American women have won so many medals in Paris, that if they were their own nation, so this is total medals, not just gold medals, they would place third in overall medal count.
That's insane. Yeah.
But women can't run the country. Anyway, speaking of women running the country, we got, I'm going to say it for you slowly in case y'all don't know how to pronounce it. Kamala, okay? Vice President Harris, Kamala, real easy, has decided to pick her VP, Tim Walz. And why do we love this pick? One, he is America's dad, because that's what everybody calls him. But two, he is the Aries to her what? Libra. We like that balance of individuality and partnership. And with the nodes on Aries and Libra right now, they got the momentum. They have the fire. They are the people's candidates. They are going out there and showing us what everyday regular people, which I assume everybody that watches this is regular folk like you and me, live.
Yeah. It's good. It's a pleasant, fortuitous combination. I think it's the right pair at the right time. Um, a moment for Tim Walz, you guys. This Midwest dad who thinks turkey is not meat, who was the head of the Gay Straight Alliance at the high school where he taught social studies and coached football because he thought it was important for the straight male football coach to lead that group in the 90s. This man, he's giving anti JD Vance and his weird ideas about banning no fault divorce and monitoring pregnant women or whatever the fuck else they want to do. And a lot of what I've seen coming up online, certainly, I don't know how much this is happening in people's real lives, but like our online life is our real life to a certain extent at this point, so we have to acknowledge it. But like there's a lot of infighting and talk about, I don't think anybody should or has to be 100% pleased with the candidates that we have available to us, and certainly the ones that are likely to win, right? And we certainly don't have to be pleased with this two-party system that we've cultivated. There are many things we can all do to change that. Supporting ranked choice voting. If there's an organization in your state that's pushing for ranked choice voting, that is one way to make third parties, fourth parties viable. That is a way to have a more truly representative democracy in this country. But like, we can walk and chew gum, and you don't have to give money to a political candidate. I think all you have to do is vote, and vote in a way that aligns the best with your conscience, and like maybe put your energy and money into causes that are closer to home or that are more based around mutual aid or building the world you want to live in. Because no, I don't think like, giving $50 a month to the Democratic Party for the rest of your life is going to like create the world you want to see. But we have to think about the reality of the choices we have. And I think people fought and died for the right to vote. Women, Black people, like, and if it weren't important, they wouldn't try so hard to take it away from us. So I do think, like, go vote. Like, you
Are y'all hearing what she said? Because do you know how many times, especially I live in the South, and how many times they have tried voter suppression in ways that are passing as laws, and you can call it different things every single time. But when you realize that the people that you thought were the minority are about to be the majority and vote in their best interests and not yours, it is imperative that you try and squash that. So you will notice what I said earlier today also was this is very much a Gen Z election. A lot of the Gen Zers are, the older Gen Zers, I think, are like in their late 20s, and the younger ones are close enough to just be coming to vote. This is your world and your country, and you will be living in this far longer than any of the boomers, any of the Gen Xers. The millennials will be around with you, but most of the boomers will not.
Not if heart disease doesn't get us first.
And half of the Gen Xers will not be around. So this is your time to speak up and use your voice for whatever you need it to be. I think you and I have both seen a lot of younger representatives coming out, whether it be the two Justins in Tennessee. Even you were talking about in your state of Michigan, how a lot of the people in office are really young.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really young. And that's the reality, is that the young people should run the government. The young people
Mm-hmm.
should be there because it's their lives that will be affected for decades to come. Donald Trump will not be around in 20 years. He won't be alive. It's just not realistic. He's not going to make it to 99. If he does, oh my gosh, okay, I was wrong. But
he's going to be lucky if he makes it the next
to 79.
4
but anyway,
years. Like...
Just saying. So I am with Cassie on that, and also just continue to read and do your research. We did want to drop a little couple gems that we also, the positive was all that, but we just want you to know that AOC did file articles of impeachment against the two justices, Alito and Thomas. You can do your research as to why, but we all know why. They are part of the reasons why Roe versus Wade was overturned. But anyway, and then I don't know if y'all remember good old George Santos, the biggest grifter, second to the former president, was convicted today, pled guilty to 2 felonies out of the 23 he was indicted for, wire fraud and aggravated identity theft, which I was like, I didn't even look it up because I was like, dang, I should look, but I didn't get a chance to look that up. But aggravated, I'm like, did you hold a gun to somebody to steal it? I can't believe. But he is facing up to 8 years in prison. Yes, he is. And, power is a very interesting thought and process and action. And you see how people gain power, try to take power, aggravated, exactly. Gain power, take power, wield power. And you see what happens when people who automatically have been grandfathered into power assume that they always should have power. And anything that is a threat to that is always just terrible. You find the worst rhetoric, the worst words. You can know when somebody doesn't know when they're talking about when they start using buzzwords that have zero to do with the context. When you start calling the Vice President Harris DEI hire, even though she graduated from an HBCU and a law school and was elected multiple times to different offices, that's really just, you're afraid of an intelligent Black woman. Say that out loud, because that's really what it is. It becomes that. So we are at a very polarizing time in our lives. I don't think Cassie and I, we was chilling in 2008 with Obama. And this is turned into a completely different country, technology. But shout out to social media, because what the DNC did was they invited TikTokers and they invited local content creators to their DNC. They are making it very much about the people. They're making it welcoming. They're making it, we are all in this together. And I think that that is what everybody wants to have as a message, instead of some doom and gloom and it's us versus them and da da da.
Yeah. And I do, yes, I agree. And I think that, and I certainly hope that throughout these days, the folks who are giving speeches acknowledge the protesters who are there in Chicago. The Poor People's Army is there. There are groups protesting what's happening still, the genocide that is occurring against Palestinians in Gaza. There are groups protesting for reproductive rights, who are demanding that the Democrats put their money where their mouth is. Now, it is true that the Republicans are very obvious in their attempts to undo reproductive freedoms, but it has only been recently that the Democrats have really stood up for reproductive freedom, and they need to really fucking show up for us, because women are the backbone of their party, and especially suburban women in the counties where Janae and I live in, probably a lot of our audience too, we're the reason they got power, and we need to hold them to task for that. And that's the beautiful thing I guess about our system when it works, is that we actually can apply pressure and get things done by demanding better positions of the people that we elect and telling them, hey, like, you need to earn our vote, show us. And I do think there's, even if God forbid they win, that's why Project 2025 exists, because they know they don't have a long-term plan to win. They don't have a vision for the future. They just have a vision for a past that is gone.
They have a vision for Pluto and Capricorn. That's what they got the vision for.
Right. And so their only hope is to dismantle the system of the rest of our voices because they know they can't match our energy. Like,
and they don't have any forward thinking visions because all the things that you are asking or requiring of people is not what people want to do. There are a lot of Gen Zers who do not want children for the reason either they were raised in a household where they were the oldest and they had to raise their own children, or they're like, I can barely afford to feed myself, let alone a human who ain't got a job. Absolutely.
I can't even afford my roommate's boyfriend coming over.
My little broke best friend. Like, I love you, best friend, but you ain't got no money. You know, prices is high. Also, just, you know, do your research and see, you know, I believe that Vice President Harris and Walz have rolled out some of their plans and policies. And like Cassie said, you don't have to agree with I don't think anybody ever agreed with any party. But I will say this is that you can fight for freedom for other countries, but you can't forget that if we don't have our freedom here, them other countries, they're not going to come. We can't go there. So just keep that in mind. You know, and with that said, we're going to throw a question that we got on our actual chat line. So Cass,
yes.
Before we go to the question, let the people know what the number is so they can hit us up, because y'all not hitting us up, and this is for you. We can text each other if we wanted to, but we want to hear from you guys.
Right. So I just dropped it in the chat as a reminder. It's 313-416-9541. So we did have a bite. We had Alicia, thank you for texting us, and we had a lovely conversation with Alicia, and we're going to share a question that she had. But please text us, leave us a voicemail, because we also got a call to the number, but she didn't leave no voicemail, so we don't know what you might have said.
Oh no,
because we're not going to answer in real time. Like, it's
call back later.
Yeah,
we have lives and jobs and families,
right?
So leave us a message. We gonna get the message, okay?
Yeah,
we gonna get the message. I guarantee.
And we will hit you back. We'll send you a text. We'll send you an email. Something. We'll follow up. But
yes, Kara, got you. Thank you, girl.
Right. So that's the number: 313-416-9541. Save it in your phone. Call it Zodiac Chatline. Call it your Astro best friend. Whatever you need to say. But here was the question. I have Sagittarius in my 10th house. What does this mean, and how can I leverage it to advance my career? A great question. Lots of interesting things to think about there.
You know, as a person who also has a fire sign in the 10th house, it is not a placement for the faint at heart. Because the 10th house is normally ruled by Capricorn, which is very worker energy, very ambitious energy, and Sagittarius in that house might be a little scattered is not the word I'm looking for, but aiming high for a goal and trying to continue that passion through. I think anything having to do with international affairs, anything, a career with travel, anything with foreign lands, working with, you know, foreign people or whatever. I think that is using that type of energy for a Sagittarius 10th house for your career, trying to figure using those types of themes in order to, you know, go for your career.
Agreed. And, you know, zooming out a little bit so everybody knows, your 10th house rules your career, your public standing. It is, as Tanae mentioned, typically ruled by Capricorn. And so when you look at your own chart, you may not have any planets in your 10th house, but maybe you will. But you certainly have a sign is ruling over it. Or if you look at charts the way Tanae and I do, you may actually have two signs in it. So you kind of have to look at where the majority of, you know, who's ruling the majority of it. And that can tell you something about how to work with, or like what energy you're working with in that aspect of your life. And I totally agree with you today. I think if you have Sagittarius in the 10th house, you've got to try to find a way to balance freedom and structure, which is difficult.
It's like Jupiter and Saturn. What do you do?
Right.
And Sag and Capricorn are right next to each other, so it's even more difficult.
Right, because they share nothing in common. Like, and one piece of advice, because I was chatting with Alicia on the text thread, I asked about her big three. And so she's a Libra sun with a Pisces moon and a Pisces rising. And so I said, my bit of maybe hot take advice here is also that you should listen to your dreams and your intuition more than your logic. Like, Sagittarius is also a mutable sign, just like Pisces. So she's got these two strong Pisces placements. And Sagittarius is also, and one good thing about that placement for her is it's very lucky. It's ruled by Jupiter. So Sagittarius in general has a very expansive energy. And they, like my husband is a Sagittarius, and he just tends to have good luck following his gut and like making snap decisions. And my thought was, I was like, as a Libra sun, you probably like to write out to-do lists and weigh things back and forth. But I think actually getting away from that and going with like what feels right, and or if you have this sudden like thought like, yes, I should do this, like go with that spark. Take Coral's another good example. Our third producer, Coral, on the show is a Sagittarius, and we'll just throw these things out every now and then to just ignite the whole, we're like, oh, fucking brilliant. And it's just like an offhand something that comes through. And I think Sagittarius, more than maybe any other fire sign, has that like psychic sixth sense kind of energy. And so I would encourage Alicia or anybody who has Sagittarius in the 10th house to try and work with that. And maybe look at what's happening in your 9th house too, because that's where Sagittarius would traditionally sit. And that might give you, another idea of like, okay, how can I expand on this energy? I have Capricorn in my 10th house.
Good for you. That's why Cassie ain't never gonna be broke, y'all.
And I have Jupiter and Capricorn there. She
gotta work hard for that money, but she gonna get it, okay? She gonna get to them coins, you hear me? So I think that would put Alicia having Scorpio in her 8th house, right? Or Scorpio in her 9th house, right? Because everything is just one off.
Right.
Yeah, so everybody look at your 10th house and kind of see where that energy is, and
let us know. Text us. Do you have a question about it?
Exactly.
Shoot us a message.
If you have your sun in your 10th house, I would be so interested to talk to you about that.
Yeah. Or your north node.
Ooh, that's a good one. Even Venus in 10th house would be interesting. With value and materialism trying to find their way together. You might find love with a rich person like that. So, that could be what Venus in the 10th house is. It's always it could be somebody with authority or a man, a boss, a boss. However you see that. But Alicia, we are so thankful that you decided to let the world know that you could use the Zodiac chat line, and we would actually answer it for real live on the show. Again, Cassie, the number is
313-416-9541.
Hit us up. Y'all, we about to get out of here because, these are the short ones. But we will be back for the Virgo new moon. I would say for the rest of this Aquarius full moon, we still have a couple of hours wherever you are. Just go with the flow. See what happens. And life will change on a dime.
Goddess.
Look forward to Mercury going direct next week. But other than that, Cassie, love you, girl. As always, y'all, it's all love on here, and we out of here. Peace.